would love to just learn a little bit more about you. So obviously, like we've been connected through our community, through email, through a variety of things, but we've actually never met.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, have you been to a few of our growth show things, formerly Demand Gen Jam Sesh? I can't remember.
I've been to numerous
That's
sessions
awesome.
and everything. One of my former employees hooked me up on that, said I get a lot of great information out of these. I think you should do it. So I jumped on them and I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, can't make them all, depends on the thing. But if it's a topic that's really interesting, go out of the way to make sure I can make it happen because I love your format and how you set them up. And I mean, all of them have maybe a smidge of sales here or there, but for the most part, it's just marketers being real, trying to solve the problems and issues that we all have.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming and being part of our community because it's starting to like take hold a little bit. I mean, our just the attendance is starting to increase, which has been really fun to see. But really appreciate you being part of that. Because yeah, I mean, so much of this is we don't have all the answers.
Right.
And I think we both agree, like any marketer or sales or really any professional in the marketing and sales side that thinks they have all the answers probably isn't trying hard enough.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, not looking at the right things. So one of the big things we're all looking at and nobody has the answers to is the buyer journey evolution. I think, I mean, we've been in this space for a while, both you and I in different capacities, but there was probably a good 10, 15 years where it was kind of everything was the same, right?
Yeah, the changes in the last 18 months have been as big as the changes were probably like 15 years ago. Like when you first started having to learn about the Google algorithms and you had to really make a big time shift into digital marketing, which obviously y'all know you just dropped the digital because it's just marketing now.
That's right.
But there was that big shift and there's that big mindset and oh my god, we can for know for the first time about people's buyer's journey and we can see how we can influence them in that top of funnel and everything. And we had just the okay, this is learning what we needed to collect, the data we needed to collect, and you know, the chat GPT of the came out and it's
Yeah, you're going.
everything and it's more difficult than ever to keep up. It's more difficult than ever to make good content. Not to make content, it's easier than ever to make content, but to make good content, which has actually become more important than it had to be. I think it was almost easier to make content 5 years ago when you were just chasing that click and you didn't really care what the content was if you just got the click. And now, because it's harder to get the click, you got to make authentic stuff, especially in this world of everybody's just dumping so much stuff out there because ChatGPT or whatever your LLM of choice is makes it so easy. So it's the challenge we're dealing with, everyone's dealing with, but it's the challenge I'm certainly dealing with internally on how do we create that? How do I educate my team and get my team to buy in to this shift without the click, which is probably one of the more difficult things is just getting internal buy-in, whether that's marketing people, the content writers, or kind of that C-suite also, both of them, two different challenges on trying to get the buy-in of shifting to this. You're not going to get the click. So quit chasing it and figure out how you can at least inform that buyer so when they raise their hand, they know you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a great segue kind of into like what we're doing here today. So, um, Brad, could you just kind of introduce yourself a little bit,
Yeah.
what you do, who you with, and kind
Yeah.
of what, yeah, let's just start there.
Yeah. So, vice president of marketing with a company called ISC Management Services. We're a B2B professional services outsourcing and legal tech solution company. So, probably a lot of the people you talk to in this world are in that SaaS world, and we're kind of in it, but for the most part, we're more into that professional services world. So definitely provides a unique view and a view that's often difficult for me to find other people that are having the same problems because we have extremely long sales cycles. It's not that our buyers have to involve sales when it's time to move forward. There's no, oh, let me just click the install free demo and get rolling. So we have to get the buyer to raise their hand, and we have to have sales actively trying to get people open because of the long sales cycle. So that's difficult. But I've been here for 25 years. So I've started
Wow.
with this company right out of college. Actually worked in one of our field locations, moved into the corporate office when we were at about 5 million. And I've grown with the company. You know, we were small Atlanta based, Southeast regional, maybe 12 customers when I started. And, you know, we're over 1,000 customers and every major market in the US now. So it's been fun to grow and see that journey and to see how that marketing landscape has changed and just trying to be able to change with it.
Now, I was doing a little homework on you, Brad, and I caught there was something in here about you basically starting out with there was some client. I wrote down some notes. Oh, you were some like a service specialist with a
Right.
client?
So our core business is we go into other people's corporations, take over mail, print, package, hospitality services. So I right out of college, they sent out a flyer to 5,000 people that had just graduated from colleges in Georgia, and they hired one person out of that campaign, and it happened to be me.
No way.
Yeah, and
Dang.
so I took the job right out of college, working in a mailroom. First major project they gave me was to implement this new file system. So we were doing records management for them, and I implemented that and managed it, and was with for about 6 months in that location. And then there's a opening in the corporate office for what they called a desktop publisher. Basically, it was a person did a small amount of graphics work and worked with the sales team to make their proposals. And said you had to know how to do InDesign. I didn't know how to use InDesign, so I went to Barnes and Noble, bought an InDesign book, had a little CD on it, played on the
Oh my
CD, read the
was that
book,
the
went
one
to,
that was like it had the little sleeve in the back of the book, right? And
yes,
it was inserted back there? Yeah.
yep, pulled that out, practiced overnight, went to the interview, got hired, and it's just been up straight from there. And though beyond just the marketing aspect, because you know when you work for a small company, you do a ton of different things. And 18 years ago, we were in an office. We'd outgrown it. We bought another suite in the building. I desperately wanted to move the marketing department. I begged and pleaded, can we move? Can we move? They said, sure, you got to do the build out. I said, fine. Did that build out, did well on it. We expanded 7 more times in that office. They put me in charge of every one of the build outs. And then in 2018, we're like, we've outgrown our space. And I said, well, I'll build us a new corporate headquarters. So I found the land, handled every aspect of building the 52,000 square foot building we're now in. And we're continuing to develop the land. It's we created it as a mixed use thing. So I'm still overseeing the development of that property. So we opened a food hall on the property last year. So I oversaw the complete development of that. So I also handle real estate, oddly enough. So
Yeah, I caught that. I was curious to see how that played into it. But that's interesting.
for me,
Yeah.
it's all about the creativity. I just like anything that's creative, and I don't really care if it's you have nothing. You want me to make a spreadsheet that will capture the ROI on a email campaign? I'm down with it. You want me to build a building? I'm down with that too. I just like the creative process.
Well, I was gonna say that's very much so like business renaissance guy,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it is, throw it in, figure it out.
Yep.
Uh, so tell me a little bit about your target audience and kind of maybe some things have changed in how they consume and buy and who are you guys after and how do you get in front of them?
Yeah. So we have 2 product lines: the office services and facilities management definitely more account based. It's a much smaller group. For those people, we're going after vice presidents and directors of facilities and corporate real estate at Fortune 1000 companies, AmLaw 200 law firms, and your top universities, primarily private, but private and public across the country. So much smaller, much easier to discern who the companies are we need to go after. The biggest shift we've seen there is there's no longer that single decision maker. It's all gone to RFPs and buying committees. And so what's the change in the focus with the marketing there is where we used to be we knew exactly who the person was and we're just going to hit that person. Now we're like, okay, we got to find out everybody that could be on that campaign, and we got to be much more broad because we just need to find a champion, and we don't really care if it's that real estate person. It could be an IT person, it could be a procurement person, it could be a facilities. We're just trying to get at all of them, because where we used to go after much smaller companies, now in terms of where we are size wise and because of reduced revenue and profit margins, we just got to go after larger companies to make it sustainable. So we were used to be very laser focused, and now we're kind of getting more broad in that world to try and find that champion. And then
Mhm.
in the legal tech services that we provide, if you're a litigation lawyer, really doesn't matter what size firm it is, it just matters your nature of suit. We can go after anybody in that world. The big shift there is the AI shift is changing everything, and it's where all the conversation's gone. So it's now, I mean, we always were trying to be thought leaders, but more than ever, it's about being thought leaders and partners for them. So creating content that resonates to answer that fear that they have, that fear of messing up. Instead of FOMO, it's FOMU. And really, in both of those worlds, that's kind of where we've shifted our content to, is trying to alleviate anybody's fear of messing up, because everyone's just scared, it seems like right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And making those decisions is harder than ever because of the pressure and
Yep.
because like especially in B2B, you've got X number of dollars allocated to go hire for this or procure or buy or do whatever.
Yep.
And there isn't a lot of margin for error. And a lot of things, we were obviously all around in business after COVID. And most people are familiar with the study. I'm sure you are too, with Gartner went in and looked at the new updated B2B buyer journey, right? You
Yep.
remember it's like this whole thing, it's frankly, it's psychotic,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. And the number of people in the buying committee really went up to what, like 8.5,
Yeah.
right? 9 people helping to make a decision. And the killer part of that was they're all bringing at least 2 pieces of research
Yep.
or information to the decision-making table. So now you have, let's just say, upwards of 20 pieces of content that they're trying to juggle for or make a case for, or here's what I heard, or here's what I saw. That is a mess. So I always have empathy for the actual buyers, right?
Yeah.
Or the decision makers who are trying to make the decision. But then the brands who are trying to get into the mix, get into the ring. And one of my favorite stats is essentially it's 80 to 90% of B2B buyers already have a short list.
Yep.
They already know who they want to work with. Now they're going to go do some homework and they're going to go validate that. But that's even before they get that. So now enter in, let's just call it modern search, which is AI driven,
Yep.
right? It's very much so free form, if you will. This different kind of search behavior has kind of perpetuated this stat. Kind of blows my mind. This is where we're headed today. 60% of Google searches end in no click.
Right.
60+% of people's time spent on Google results in 0 clicking. So that means they're getting their information from that AI summary now.
Right.
Everything you need to get started on your journey is sitting in, what is it, 2 sentences?
Right.
Maybe a small paragraph?
Yeah.
Everything you need. So what the hell do we do with that?
And I can confirmed that our web traffic's down. I mean,
I was going to ask you if you guys
you
are
can look
seeing.
at the Google Analytics. It is down. I mean, it's down significantly,
Yeah.
but I know the buyers are still engaging and reaching our contact or getting our information because we're talking to them. They're raising their hand. We, like you said, they've come to us because they've already decided they want us on that short list. So we
Yep.
know they're seeing the information, but they're not coming to it through the website, which is, been difficult.
Yeah.
They're appropriately so, and I get this, but they're not filling out gates anymore. We're
No.
we're actively taking every gate down for a multitude of reasons, of one of which my people just work too hard on these white papers and this content for it not to get the traffic. Just from a
Ah, that's
selfish
it.
manner, I want
That's it.
people
Yeah.
reading this because my my subject matter experts and my marketing people that are creating this, they bust their butt, and I want people's eyeballs on it. Period, just for their work.
Well, that's a mindset that so many the world's catching up quickly.
Yep.
Most people are in that mindset now, but that is such a healthy perspective. It's like I want you to read it,
Right.
right? So many forever we've been like, I want you to read it after you give me something,
Correct.
right? And that is way gone. So
Right.
that's great that you guys are, allowing that to happen.
And I get why you don't want to fill out the information anymore, because then you're put into automatic email sequences. You're gonna get a cold call
Oh,
once a
oh,
week for the next 2 months. You're gonna get 20 emails, and you're like, I'm not there yet.
yeah, don't forget the LinkedIn messages, the
Right.
targeting, the whole 9 yards. Well, it's interesting. You probably heard me, I'd say this on other shows, but like marketers did this to ourselves.
Right.
We find a shiny object and then we use it to the point where it is no longer shiny, it is dead, and then
Yep.
everybody walks away from it or avoids it like the plague, right? So we're here, we're at that crossroads, and really AI has come in and taken out all of that because all we want, and this is like you and me as people, this is brands, this is everybody, we just want the answer.
Right.
Just tell me what I'm in search of. Give me the real, credible answer to my question, and please make it easy.
Right.
And that's what's happening right now, faster than ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
Have
mean,
you you've seen a decrease in organic of your traffic referral sources. Are you seeing the GPT models coming in as referral sources yet?
we are not, but we're trying to make it that way. So we're trying to figure out how do we get that? How are we going to create content that's authentic, that the buyer wants to read, that they find engaging, but also is going to track and be read by these LLMs? That's going to
Yeah.
bring us leads that way, because to the best of my knowledge right now, we're not getting leads that way. Maybe
Yeah.
we are, and I just don't know it. Maybe they're part of their journey was going into a chat and typing in, tell me about AI and construction litigation, because we got a lot of white papers out there on that. We got a lot of content on that, and maybe our content is resonating, and that's how they're finding us. But I don't know how to know if that's how I'm getting them yet. I have yet to figure out how to tell if that's how I'm acquiring people from that source. That's one
Yeah.
of
And
our challenges.
the topic of like dark marketing
Yep.
too is about to get a whole lot of light shed on it, I guess, or
Yeah.
the opposite. But I think AI is gonna, I would say, exacerbate the dark marketing world because again, I'm getting what I need in this search snippet wherever
Yep.
you are. I'm gonna remember that if it makes sense and I take the time to catalog it, or I might write it down, right? Then you're going to go do your normal stuff, right? Sometimes that may involve deeper traditional Google searches, or maybe it's going to peers, or maybe it's, whatever. I mean, I know a lot of people use Perplexity
Yep.
because it combines a little bit of the Google with the AI, but they're all headed that way, right? So if I say, well, give me the best, light bulb company in Denver, it's going to give me the link, It's
Right.
going to give me the link to who that is according to itself, right? And obviously there's ways to control that narrative, and that's where we're all going to be shifting our resources because across the board, organic search is down.
Right.
Every industry, every vertical, every company size, it's just down. And we've been through this before, right? There's been core updates that just tank traffic. Okay. You know what's amazing, Brad? Every time. The answer is always go back to the basics.
Absolutely.
Write great content, write content that solves a problem, informs, educates, write for your readers, and everything else will work out.
And yeah, and that's that writing great content is so key. And that's like when I'm working with my content team and everything, I'm like, obviously we're going to use an LLM. Obviously we're going to have that as part of it. But you still got to write something that's great. And then we're going to utilize that to improve it. We're going to utilize that to analyze it and make sure here's our buyer personas. Does this connect back? Can you tell me how this connects back to the buyer persona? Am I missing something from that buyer persona? Can we do samples on hooks? Can we use maybe like a product like Winter to check hooks to see if we're building stuff? But you can't prompt and paste. I mean, the people that want to prompt and paste is never going to work. And that's the content you see out there so often that you're like,
Mm-hmm.
no one's going to engage with this. But the LLM
Yeah.
has to be part of the process because it makes it better. But to me, it's better when you use it as the editor and the brainstormer and the checker, not the initial creator.
100%. Well, and I've heard that the prompt and paste, which I've never heard that before. I like it. I'm stealing it. The prompt and paste is getting hammered now by the search by Googles and stuff.
Right.
They're flagging it and they're starting to do some things that are not very friendly to the brands who are doing that. So again, do the right things, right?
And people like to talk about, oh, we're going to lose our voice in this. And I disagree. If you work with your whatever your chosen LLM, it's going to learn your voice. And if you truly use it as the editor, I actually write more now than I ever have because of chat, because I just have the best editor I have ever had
Yes.
instantaneously because I'm a good writer, but I have terrible spelling and my grammar's not always the best, but I know how to create an authentic voice. I know how to engage. I can read a bunch of research and say these are the key points that we want to take from this and we want to build into that. But the rest of it, I would stress so much on trying to get the other stuff together that it would take me forever to write. But now I just vomit onto the
Yes.
page, throw
Yes.
it into my model that I built very succinctly to this is my voice. Hey, I'm writing for LinkedIn. I'm writing for Instagram. I'm writing this for a blog. These are the key points. We know what we want that to be. Fix the flow, fix the grammar. Let me know if I'm missing something. And
Yeah. I
so,
love it. I do the same thing and I've noticed the same level of like I don't know, I'll call it reduced like writing anxiety,
yeah,
right? Because I know I can just, but to your point, vomit.
yeah,
I know the key points are my own, they're my
exactly.
perspective. And then I know that I can have a tool go in and do that.
Yep.
So I hope that, more and more brands continue to do this because I still believe that um, really good website copy is going to be important. Again, not just from a search perspective, but still that user journey because the AI enabled website thing, which we talked about last month on the show a little bit, or recently actually,
Yep.
it's here.
Yep.
Now there's AI layers that can sit on your site that can process your site specifically and nothing else
Yep.
and give the user exactly what they want. And it can deep link into wherever that information is located. So if they want it, it's there.
Absolutely. I
It's
also liked
amazing.
where you talked about we were kind of like we were 15 years ago, and it's funny, but those vanity stats that we all were like, oh,
Oh,
they're, they're the worst. You can't look at those. They're now almost like your only stat that you
yes.
can look at. and you're still understanding how to look at it, but the click's gone. So the engagement's now more important than ever because you've got to look into it. But because there's so many tools now, you can better look into what that engagement means and who's engaging with you to understand, is what I'm creating here resonating properly? Oh, wait, all this engagement's internal. This piece is not hitting where we need to. It's not going where we need to. I need to change it. Oh, look, this is hitting with my ICP because these individuals are engaging with them. And of course, I want to send a sales rep after them because we're still out to get sales, but it lets you better understand how to adjust on where you see if is my ICP actually engaging with this.
Well, it's interesting because about 15 years ago, I was a bit younger and trying to, at the time, those what we would call the vanity metrics, vanity URLs. I'm working with, I was at a marketing agency and we were kind of really innovating a lot back then. And I remember trying to have a conversation with a decision maker, VP, whatever. Like, yeah, these likes, they're really important. See this engagement? This is really important. See these impressions? Really important. And they're like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? I don't get it. I don't want it. What is social media?
Right.
Um, where's the money? Where's this? Where's that? So I was, in my 20s trying to figure this out. And then, yeah, we went through this whole journey in the middle where, yeah, that's stupid. We don't want to look at that. And now we're like, wait a minute. That's the right stuff again.
Right.
Because it's that engagement that we're looking for, somebody taking their time to engage with that. So now it becomes this big old question of how do we monitor, measure, predict, build better, do better? And now it's really coming down to signals.
Right. It's signals and it's understanding that while we have to tie something to that single point, there's no such thing as a single point anymore of how you acquire someone. It
Yeah.
is going to be them engaging over all of these things, and you're just hoping they trigger enough signals that you can see those signals.
How do you guys approach reporting and attribution? And then how do you think you will approach it in the next, in 2025 as this clickless thing comes?
Well, we approach it currently poorly. So we will probably continue to approach it poorly.
Very fair.
So I am definitely in the art and science of marketing. I am definitely more in the art world, and you have that terrible problem of everyone you hire, you're like, I'm gonna hire these people that are completely different than me, and you end up hiring a bunch of mini yous anyway. So I have so many artists and not enough scientists. So we're trying. That's always been our biggest challenge: is reporting, analytics, how to draw from it. It's gotten more difficult. I mean, we certainly were doing all the things, and we were tracking that what pages were doing well, what weren't. These people raised their hand from filling out these forms. Oh, look, this landing page is doing well. This one's not. How can we adjust it? I mean, not some of that's always going to be there, always changing. It's now you talked about we're shedding light onto that dark funnel. It's okay. We got to shed more light on it, and we got to figure out how to report on those signals. And that's the challenge we're in. I mean, it's a challenge everyone's in, but certainly my department's in, certainly I'm in, because it's not where I thrive anyway, naturally. So I'm really good at creating things that are engaging, but it's the struggle of, okay, now what do I do with it? And
Yeah.
we're still there, and it's just gotten harder because, you almost don't even want to put click a link almost anywhere in, say, like a LinkedIn anywhere, which is in the past where we would have done it because they said, okay, you're going to put links in. We're going to make the little image really small and they're not going to want to engage with it. So now you got to take that out and you got to build this bigger thing. So we're just trying to figure out, how do we track? We weren't great at tracking before. How do we track this when we just have no idea?
It's like tracking air molecules moving back and forth. It's like,
Right.
I know it's happening. I know they're there. I'm breathing this air. I can feel it. I'm alive. But I don't know where they are.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think people are foolish to think anymore, and I was one of them. I've been one of them forever, is this chasing the attribution dragon.
Yep.
I think AI has finally put that to bed for me, probably until the next big change in marketing happens,
Right.
which who knows when that'll happen. Because it's doable to a certain point, but now it's funny. We keep talking about stuff in retro, but the old adage of I know 50% of my marketing is working.
Right.
I just don't know which one that is.
Exactly.
Right? And you said it well. It's kind of again, you have to be in everything. You have to be in all the channels, not all channels, but the channels that make the most sense for you and your brand. But you've got to be doing email. It's crazy how
Yep.
email is still one of the top drivers. Um, got to have a site. Got to be really paid in organic social is important. And then got to be adding in, I would say, a sprinkle of two or three other kind of traditional things, like a trade show,
Yep.
right? Watching direct mail kind of come back a little bit. I'm watching all these new, really advanced CTV, podcast advertising, like, and I would consider that almost more traditional, like radio advertising,
Yeah.
right? I'm tuning in to listen to a show, and there it is. So those things are starting to, well, have been for a while, but starting to really take off.
What's fun, because we do a lot of email marketing, and we do one to one and one to many and one to few and all of that. What's fun to me about it now is that you're able to, because of the AI, because of the different tools, create those micro segments, and to where personalization used to be a token. Ryan, company name.
Yeah, totally.
Now we're able to take a segment where it used to be we were sending to 1,000, and now we've turned that into 100 smaller segments, and we're able to group them in very similar areas, whether if it's in that legal world, it's nature of suit and location. If it's in that FM world, maybe it's a very specific type of manufacturing or retail corporation or whatever it is. And by job attribution, because we talked about those buyer groups. So now we're like, okay, these emails are going to the major retail people, and these are going to the real estate person. This one's going to procurement. This one's going to IT, and take that same message and adjust it so it's personalized to each of those groups.
Mhm.
And we use AI. So we write, my team creates a really great, authentic piece of content, and then we use the AI and our buyer personas to make those quick adjustments. And so now we send out emails to 10 people or 25 people that feel like they're to them, that's
Mhm.
answering their question. And we're seeing that increase, not necessarily in opens, but an increase in quality of lead that comes from
Mhm.
it. So those metrics are still like 3% open, 1% click, whatever. Those don't haven't changed a whole lot. But when we start a conversation with somebody from these new micro segments, the odds of it advancing through the funnel quickly has
Mhm.
improved. The velocity has
Mhm.
has improved because we're able to adjust the emails in a way in the past we never could have, because I couldn't have asked my person to write 100 unique email
Mhm.
segments and now, or sequences, and now they can. So it's been fun to actually get back into email in a way that's engaging.
Mhm. Well, and it's interesting. Again, we talked about how when we use AI to write stuff, we still have our brain matter, we have our point of view, we have our thoughts.
Yep.
It's no different than email, because, like, I know, yeah, I can, get the sense from you, and certainly this way, like, I really enjoy learning about people, and I enjoy learning
Right.
about what's going on in their world, and like, I'm fueled by that, but I can't do that at scale. But I want people to know I care about them. I want
Yep.
them to realize I have done some homework on you. And whether it's done manually or with a machine, if I'm receiving, I don't really care how you got there. But
Right.
somehow you put the time and the thought to at least know a couple of things about me, and that's going to help. So
Yeah.
then when we actually get to have a conversation, then both parties see, oh, this is an authentic conversation and this person actually does care about me. I'm having my talking people, but
Yep.
they actually do care about me, and I'm glad I took this meeting, right? That's We're just trying to get through all that. So I want to rapid fire a few questions with you, just to kind of help with some of this research that we're doing. And I think we've talked about a little bit of it throughout here, but like,
Yep.
how are you adapting? What's coming that's going to allow you to help position the brand for this, what I'm kind of calling the self-education world, the self-serve world?
Yeah. So the adapting has been in two areas. Number one, just educating my marketing team first and foremost. This is what we have to do, and this is the shift we have to make. And honestly, you should like this shift because it's more about the creativity and it's more about the content than about the click. And then it's aligning this new understanding with sales and the rest of the rest of the C suite, that it should no longer be about MQLs and SQLs. It needs to be about revenue and revenue alone. And let's figure out how to make sure the actions we're doing flow into what you're doing to build that end revenue. Because I mean, obviously we get excited if we create a lead and we send it to them and they get excited, but we shouldn't be fighting over who made the lead. We just need to be fighting over, are we bringing revenue to the table? Because that, like we said, there's just that single form of acquisition doesn't exist anymore. That funnel, people are educating themselves so greatly beforehand. Who knows
Oh,
how they got there? So
man.
getting my team on set with it and then trying to get the buy-in from the sales and the rest, that we need to be all understanding the funnel and working towards it, and just making sure what we're doing is accelerating the process and bringing revenue to the table, and we're not squabbling over, well, whose lead was it, or your lead's bad or my lead's good. Tell me what you need, tell me what your ICP looks like, and tell me what they're asking you so that I can create content and messaging that answers that. Because that's often our biggest struggle, is we're not the boots on the ground. I don't
Mhm.
talk to that client. I need sales to communicate back to me what's working and what's not working, because I don't want anything out there that's not working. So I have no problem adjusting. And I
Yeah.
like to listen and learn and grow. So I need sales to communicate back to us, these are the problems we're hearing and y'all aren't solving that. Great. Well, let's figure out how to solve it, and
Man,
let's solve it together.
could you imagine if more and more companies did that,
Right.
how more powerful it'd be? I mean, I think this is going to be a big, a greater chasm of success and not success is those companies who lean into aligning sales and marketing,
Right.
because you nailed it.
Yeah.
This whole world of dark, this whole world of ambiguity, this whole world of self-serve is going to create so much more kind of confusion, but unknown. So
Right.
sales is on the ground, marketing goes over to providing air cover.
Yep.
Got to do this.
Right.
There's going to be, to bridge any of those gaps. And you went perfectly into the next question I have for you, which is like, is there anything you can go back maybe a year or even two, but is there something that you've stopped doing in marketing? Because it's just not working anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked earlier. We've removed all gates.
That's right. Hmm.
So we're removing gates. We're shifting from even having links in half of our stuff, because the way the models work, they don't look good, or we're going back underneath and adding them in comments.
Well,
So,
and the especially socials, especially
yep.
LinkedIn, those guys are penalizing
Yeah.
any post, any organic post with a link in it is getting throttled.
Yep.
And I think they're catching on even to us putting it in comments, right? Because I've
Right.
been doing some testing and it's obvious. You put a link, links have become like dirty.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I start feeling dirty when I'm putting a link in there for almost anything.
Yeah.
It's like so passe. Don't do that.
Right.
And how dare you ask for the sale or ask for the conversation or ask for the meeting? You might as well go for a timeout.
But I mean, you still need a compelling call to action. You still
That's
gotta
it.
you gotta have it. You gotta have something that says this is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
People still, if you don't tell them what you want them to do, they're not gonna do it.
No, absolutely. And I guess I would update my statement there to say, it's like, how dare you ask for an appointment? It's in the wrong time at the wrong place for the wrong
Right.
reason is when there. But yes, because if somebody really needs help, you need to make it easy to
But
provide that.
it's super nuanced. Like you said, it's super nuanced in when and how and where. And man, at the end of the day, we're still selling. you know.
I got to tell you a little story. We got a really nice inbound lead the other day, and phone number and everything
Yeah.
is great. So I give them a call, and they literally said, "I'm really busy. Could you not call me? Just email me." Like, sure. Well,
Yeah.
of course, no
Yeah.
problem. But oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, don't even talk to me. No,
Right.
no, the point is, nothing against this person. I totally get it. It's They even raised their hand for help, but they clearly didn't want to talk to sales.
Right.
So that's like this micro journey thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm guilty as charged. I would prefer to communicate
Well,
solely
yeah.
without a phone call almost. The
Yeah.
introvert in me is like, oh, I can do this without a phone call. That's great.
And that's why I have empathy for that person because it doesn't bother me at all. It's
Right.
just sometimes I wonder, isn't that more efficient just to have a quick call, see are we the boom, 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 versus
Right.
when are you available? Here's my meeting link. Oh, I can't do that time. Oops, I overbooked this. Here's the link. Here's the time. Here's the follow-up. Here.
Yep. Yeah. No. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing massive has changed that we've gotten rid of. We're just trying to change how we're doing it. But I'm excited because a lot of what we're changing is getting back to, I think, better marketing practices too.
Yeah.
Telling the story, which is why almost everybody got into marketing was they like telling stories.
Yeah. And especially, I don't know this latest generation, but I got into it because I was attracted by the sexiness of what the Mad Men generation brought to marketing. The
Right.
big idea, the big idea, the big pitch, right? The thing that's going to inspire your client's consumer behavior in a way that is just profound, right?
Right.
The creative, the photography, this all of it. I definitely was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Um, so are you guys seeing leads coming in different ways than the last year or so? Like, traditionally, we all went after the click to get the form fill, right?
Right.
Are you seeing them come in any different ways?
Uh, a little bit. I mean, we're certainly we're working greatly with our sales team to be better social sellers, to be
Hmm.
more nuanced social sellers, to not pitch slap, to go out there to here's the content, here's the stuff, here's what they're asking for, put it in your own words, use it for engagement. And so we're seeing the ones that are more nuanced, that know how to work and search to those tools, bring in leads through LinkedIn, not through the click, just through that relationship building in that world at a higher level than we ever have. Um, Honestly, that contact form on the website still probably brings
Okay.
in the bulk of our inbound leads. We've just changed how we position it. So now it's not just here, it's after every blog, it's after the every this, and and one of those things we've done is we're in the process of doing is adding FAQs to everything.
Ah, tell me
Every
more about
Well, the belief is the LLM loves the content that says, here's the question, here's the answer.
it.
So we
Hmm.
write our content in a very natural, authentic flow. and then we say, all right, what are the 4 problems that this thing solves? How do we think people are searching for if they were going to an LM, typing in these problems? And then we create that FAQ. It's an accordion filled, so no one's seeing it unless
Right.
they want to. But the belief is hopefully that's going to help with the LLM. If they want to skip down and click on it, it feels almost like you're in AI in the sense that it's just here's your question, here's your answer, not all the other fluff in the storytelling. And then we're closing with that call to action that's like, hey, if you like this, you want to learn more,
Yeah.
fill this out and we'll reach out to you. But if you don't, that's fine too. But we still, I mean, we got a lead in from an account that we've been trying to sell into for 15 years
Wow.
inbound that and here, hey, sales rep, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then they set up an appointment almost instantaneously. And the person's like, I've been looking at your content. You've been answering the questions I've been looking for. So we're like, that's the dream. And then we, like I said, email is the micro segments isn't bringing in more, but what it's bringing in is higher quality.
Which is everything, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then that's, that'll be interesting too, as we kind of lose maybe some data here and there, just because again, clicks were part of that world, but
Yep.
we'll figure out how to close those gaps. But is figuring out ways to improve the things we know are working and stop the things that are bad or that
Right.
are not working as well, right? But I'm kind of excited about, let's just say the next 18 months, because we got to look at micro journeys here.
Yep.
Because we've said it a couple times, but it's sort of cleaning the slate. It's not wiping it clean, but it's cleaning the
Right.
slate from all the stuff and the motions and the cycles to just coming back to the basics, right?
Right.
Vendy is really good at what they do. You guys are really good at what you do. And for the people who need it,
Yeah.
they're going to find you. They're going to find an article. They're going to get a referral. They're going to hear about it and they're going to get to you, right? But every company is out there is figuring, well, how do I do it faster? How do I do it bigger? How do I do it more? How do I predict, measure all the things, right? I have to answer to a board. I have to answer to my boss who wants to know all these specific things. I mean, we're not going to answer that question here, but
Right.
we, as B2B marketers, which I'm, maybe I'm just a little bit biased, but I feel like they're a special breed in a good way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's good to connect with you and others in our space because it is different and it is nuanced. And we're in an exciting time. Like I always, my wife and I talk about this all the time. We were too young to take advantage of the .com boom and internet, and
Right.
we wasn't. So I feel like this is our chance. We're
Right.
not going to get rich off of anything, but this is our chance to be the next generation of experts to figure it out, right? The F around and find out kind of group.
Right.
Like that's us. We have it. We're right now.
Well, yeah, when I started in marketing, it was 2000 and I mean, it was just a different world and Google and the algorithms and all that was just starting to heat up. SEO was just starting to heat up and then I very quickly found myself in charge of all the marketing for the company as a just single one person and I didn't have
Wow.
time to learn or understand it and as we grew, I didn't have time to figure out what was going on and be more nuanced and try and understand it. It was just hold on for dear life and make sure you're getting the sales team what they need to close the deal and all that. And now that I'm in a different stage of my career and I have a great team that works for me and that are in their areas where they grow far more talented than I ever was in any of it. But now it allows me to go, okay, well, let's put more thought into this and be more strategic. And that's, like you said, that .com world, I was too young to be able to understand it or even attempt to. And now that I'm older, it's been so much fun going, okay, well, we don't have clicks. What does that mean? And what does that mean for us? And let's jump on a phone call like this and hear what other people are doing. Let's go to this marketing event or this community event or do research or just spend an hour on ChatGPT asking it freaking questions because it's
No kidding.
really
No,
fabulous at getting you smarter. And I mean, I'll just like
like
sit there, work through it and everything.
So it's just super relevant. So my wife, she works for a really great company here in Denver, and she was working on something. And she came home yesterday. We were talking about her day and stuff, and she's like, "Yeah, well, yeah, I figured out how to write this Python script that connects the two of these databases together that does all these things." She doesn't know Python.
Right.
She doesn't know computer programming language. She doesn't know any of that, but she had ChatGPT teach it to her in a way that was applicable,
Right.
and then essentially wrote a script that could do the thing that she is trying to do. So she uses her imagination and then knows how to prompt. And I think
Yeah.
that's going to be the difference of what kind of humans are going. This is a much bigger conversation, but where we're going in the professional world, like I would take an intern who's AI savvy over a 5-year experienced person who doesn't know AI.
Yeah. Well, I was a history major that had no marketing experience, taught myself everything, and people were like, "Oh, how do you know this? How do you learn that?" I was like, "Oh, I just Google better than you." And
Exactly.
now it's just like I just AI better than you. The
Exactly.
only reason I can get this and you can't is I AI better than you.
Yeah. If you put two graphic designers, or if you put a GPT and a person who's not a graphic designer, do
Yep.
same assignment,
Yep.
and then graphic designer, it's totally different outcomes, and it could be
Yeah.
a difference of a few words
Yeah.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's just having that level of expertise, so it's encouraging. So let's think about all the people who are walking into this world. They may see it, they may not, but it's coming. Um, is there in this clickless world, is there something in the buyer journey that marketers are still underestimating?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So I think I think we always struggle to underestimate the importance of actually knowing our client.
Ah, what?
I think marketers underestimate that their salesperson actually knows their client's pain better than them and that they're not. And you've got to connect and understand that because we just get in a, we get, all marketers get really enamored with the latest visual, the latest trend,
Mhm.
the latest this. And we shift before our clients even connected with what we're doing. So because we're more enthralled by the new shiny thing than actually understanding our client,
Mm.
we're like, oh, it's time to change brand. It's time to change the website. It's time to change this. And if you're changing every 6 months, your buyers are behind you
Yeah.
in consuming your content. They're behind you and understanding your brand and understanding your position. And just about the second they might get it, we do a big shift.
Hmm.
And then they're like, oh, but I don't know who IST is anymore. What is this? And
What happened?
so I think we always underestimate how important the shiny or overestimate how important the shiny thing is and how important it is to just try and be where our client is when they're there
I love
and
that.
just answering their question.
I love that. Well, I'm going to wind us down. Brad, thanks so much for
Yeah.
hanging out and giving us your thoughts and talking through this. It's going to be very topical, and I'd be curious even a month from now
It'll
what
be
we
completely
all
different.
uncover and just completely go through it. Like, yeah, what we said last month. Hey, sorry,
Right.
But yeah, this is really fascinating stuff. So thank you.